Hi Taurus, and welcome to your November 2023 horoscope. 2024 is almost around the corner, believe it or not, and I have 10 spots open for those of you that would like a personal 2024 year ahead reading. We're going to sit down, you and we're going to pull up your chart, and we're going to talk specifically about themes coming up for you personally. So this goes way beyond just what planet is entering what house. We're going to use a couple of different techniques to really get down to what your focus is for the upcoming year. I only have 10 spots available. The booking link is down below. On November 2nd, Jupiter in your first house is opposing the Sun in your 7th house. As a Taurus rising, you love to keep things stable and secure. So during this time, you might be especially confronted with all of the ways that you're playing safe, all of the ways that you're holding on to things that no longer serve you. And with the Sun in your 7th house in Scorpio, it might actually be something coming from your close relationships, from your partner, that really urges you, that really forces you to let things flow a little bit more, let things change and grow and evolve. Just a day later, on November 3rd, we have Venus in your 5th house opposing Neptune in your 11th house. There may have been a tendency for you to get a little bit delusional, a little bit get carried away and out of touch with reality, especially when it comes to your future term goals, to your network, to your friendships, because Neptune has been in your 11th house for a while now. But during this opposition with Venus and Neptune, you will be asked again to strike a balance between the pickiness that you have with how you spend your time, the things that you do for pleasure and for fun, and some of this more escapist energy that you've been carrying when it comes to your future term goals. It's time to find the balance between the two and see if you can get it a little bit more practical and a little bit more grounded when it comes to your future goals. Just a day later, Saturn goes direct. It is done with Aquarius officially. It is not going back there, at least for a while. And from now on, it's going to be in Pisces in your 11th house. So like I said just a second ago, having Pisces in your 11th house, you might tend to lose your boundaries or get a little bit hippy-dippy when it comes to your future goals. And having Saturn pass through this house for the next 2 years, it's really going to ask you to become mature and to grow up in that area. It's time to really take a look at what goals really make sense and which ones are just complete nonsense. On November 13th, we have a new moon in Scorpio in your 7th house, opposing Uranus in your 1st house. Actually, for all of November, the Sun and Mars are moving super closely with each other. The Sun sort of starts to make its way to join with Mars. They join, and then afterwards, the Sun passes Mars. But they move pretty much in conjunction with each other for the whole month, which is really special. And already that might mean that you have a lot more energy, a lot more enthusiasm, a lot more passion during this month of November. However, at this new moon, we have the Sun and Mars in your 7th house, basically conjunct, opposing Uranus in your 1st house. You have had Uranus in your 1st house for a while now, Taurus, so you have been experiencing some ups and downs when it comes to your identity. You have really been considering who you are, how you show up to the rest of the world, how you respond and carry yourself to the things happening around you. So you may have completely changed as to how others view you or how you show up. And during this time, especially having the Sun and Mars in the 7th house, there is definitely that energy to step a little bit more into bonding with another human being, to let things go with the flow and to focus more on your relationship with others versus on yourself. So this new moon is really asking you to take a look at any new starts and new beginnings in your relationships and to allow yourself to go with the flow of that. On November 17th, the Sun and Mars conjunction becomes exact, and during this time, they trine Neptune. So you see this theme coming up for the whole month: your first house, your seventh house, and your 11th house. So if you have taken the beautiful beginning with ease, if you have embraced the beautiful beginning that came by on the new moon just a couple of days earlier, then I think November 17th could be a really nice burst of energy, motivation, really sort of the next step that you're taking in your partnership. And this could beautifully influence your future term goals. Perhaps something happens in your partnership that really solidifies your partnership together and makes you believe and switch your future goals to involve that other person. On November 21st, Mars and the Sun reach the final degrees of Scorpio. And as they do that, they sextile Pluto on their way out. Pluto is in your 9th house right now, and it's been there for 20 years. So you may have been really learning about how to step into your power when it comes to explorations, looking for meaning, allowing all sorts of information to come in with your exploration, and really finding meaning and purpose in the knowledge and information that you take in. So finally, as the Sun and Mars head out of your 7th house, they might be asking you to take a look at some of the things that you learned with Pluto in your 9th house, some of the power and strength that you gathered from this huge search for meaning, and see if you can apply it to your relationships. It's actually a beautiful way to close off Scorpio season. On the 23rd, the Sun enters Sagittarius, and as it does that, it squares Saturn in Pisces. And just a day later, Mars also enters Sagittarius and squares Saturn. So we actually see a beautiful shift for you in the second part of the month, where we're focusing a little bit less from that 7th house into a little bit more of that 8th house. So all of the beautiful new starts and beginnings that you've made in your relationships in the 7th house, in the second part of November, you're being asked to deepen them. You're being asked to really show up naked, vulnerable, and honest with that other person, and allowed to form a beautiful relationship, even with them knowing all those parts of you. The damper that you have right now on your future term goals, on your plans for the future with Saturn in your 11th house, could make this a little bit more difficult. Perhaps you feel like you cannot get truly intimate, truly honest with this person because you don't feel very positive or very optimistic about the future. Don't let Saturn dampen your spirits. If it seems like there's a complete wall in front of you, don't be afraid. Just take a couple of steps back and walk around it. There's always a way around it. On November 27th, we have a full moon in Gemini in your 2nd house. We have the Sun and Mars in your 8th house, the moon in your 2nd. And actually, during this full moon, we also have Venus conjunct the South Node. I see this full moon as a beautiful reveal of information. After all, the sun is shining a light on the moon, revealing what it looks like, revealing information to us. So I see this full moon as a beautiful new reveal of information when it comes to your self-esteem, when it comes to the self-discipline, the self-love, the self-appreciation that you have for yourself. I think that if you allow yourself for the days leading up to this full moon to really merge, become intimately naked with another human being, that this full moon could be a beautiful culmination of what this could mean for you personally. I could see that this helps you feel stronger, more powerful, and more sure in yourself. Keep in mind, Venus is conjunct the South Node in Libra in your 6th house. So anywhere that you have becoming a little bit too relaxed with your day-to-day routines, anywhere where you've been just going with the flow, trying not to upset others regarding your health, regarding what you eat, how you work out, how you take care of yourself, then during this full moon, you're going to be asked to let go of all of that. Perhaps a part of this new powerful self-esteem that you're finding in yourself means that you need to start taking better care of yourself when it comes to your day-to-day routine. The Venus and South Node conjunction gets even stronger after the full moon, and it reaches its peak on November 29th. It's actually a really beautiful way to close off the month. So overall, Taurus, I think November is a beautiful month for you. You have a lot of focus this month on your relationships and what it means for you to be yourself and your own unique individual in your relationships. Don't be afraid to let safety and security go a little bit and allow yourself to have a little bit of fun and to get deep with somebody else. I have 10 spots available for 2024 year ahead readings. We're going to talk about the whole year, what it means for you personally. So you can book those down in the description box. And if you want to make sure you catch the next horoscope, then make sure you subscribe. I hope to see you again soon.